Ash is the true ninja in space. You're gonna be invisible 99% of the time, and whilst you are, your clones are gonna be dealing upwards of 200 million damage, making a steal path incredibly easy. 2 builds for you guys, everything you would possibly need. If that sounds interesting, well, let's quickly hop into the video. Ash is definitely quite an interesting Warframe. I got him way back when he was actually really good and terrifying, sort of like he is nowadays, but I guess we're gonna have to wait until we get into that. But before we do, we do want to cover the fashion frame itself. It looks incredibly good. Ash is a stealthy ninja frame. I love this skin on him with the like tri-eyes up there. It's like night vision goggles, looks incredibly good. And I do love the attachments as well. The bandana goes perfectly with this Warframe, the shadow like coming down, it's really cool. Nonetheless, that is the true endgame Warframe. So if you're interested in that, there you go, that's pretty much it. Now, if you're interested in the build itself, we'll be getting into that in just a second. What I want you guys to get into is that subscribe button. I have no idea how, but somehow get inside of that. Also, the bell icon helps me out, and I love you guys for it, and it also helps out the YouTube algorithm. Also, leaving a like does help out as well if you do enjoy the video, and I'm very interested. Comment down below on what you think of the looks and on the build itself when we do complete that. And now with all that chatting out of the way, let's quickly cover his passive. His passive being that slash procs from Ash's weapons and abilities deal 25% more damage and last 50% longer. Keeping in mind that this damage is going to be additively stacking to your other status damages, which is going to be incredibly good. And now moving on to his first ability, which has been changed in the Techrot and Core update, Shuriken. Shuriken is his first ability. You throw 5 shurikens now instead of 3, which is incredibly good, and these shurikens deal slash damage. They can impale enemies to walls if you do hit them, but this is not that useful of an ability unless you put the Seeking Shuriken Augment mod. This will allow you to armor strip with these, and considering there is 5 now, it is so much easier to armor strip those enemies. Smokescreen is the second ability, allowing you to go invisible, and you can also stun nearby enemies. This is going to be your primary way of surviving and also gaining critical damage and also a lot of power strength. We'll get into that in just a second. Nonetheless, Smokescreen, incredibly good. Have this active all the time. Teleport is the third ability. This will allow you to teleport to an enemy and do a finisher move, and you're going to be doing increased finisher damage. You can also use this ability to join in on your fourth ability, but why am I mentioning it now? Because we're going to be subsuming teleport for other abilities. The first ability that I'm going to be covering and the second one, and the first ability is going to be Silence from Banshee. Silence makes enemies stunned in a radius around you, which is very nice, and the better thing is the Savage Silence Augment mod. This will allow you to gain finisher damage while silence is active, and this is so good. We have around 800% here, and believe me, those juicy numbers are definitely going to be lovely to see. The second ability is going to be Rhino's Roar. There are other abilities, but we'll get into those later on in the video. Nonetheless, Roar is incredibly good. It boosts your damage of your fourth ability, which we will get into in just a second, and also boosts the damage of your weapons. This is sort of like a mobile silence. And now moving on to the biggest and baddest ability, it is going to be Blade Storm. Blade Storm is going to summon Ash clones that are going to attack targets that you tag with your mouse cursor, and these clones will commence an attack dealing true damage and also slash damage as well, attacking those enemies relentlessly until they fall to the ground. Compared with his passive, this is going to be incredibly good. Whilst you're invisible, you will get a 50% discount on energy once you mark an enemy, so it's not going to cost 6, for example, it's going to cost 3 energy, which is incredibly good, so be invisible as well. And one of the best things about this ability is going to be the Augment mod Rising Storm. Rising Storm, your clones will basically generate your melee combo counter for you, and this has a passive 10-second melee combo duration, which is going to be incredibly good and help you out a lot. Considering the higher your combo, the bigger your damage numbers are gonna be. And talking about damage numbers, Ash and everything, what does the build actually look like? Well, this is my main Silence Ash build up on screen. We have Steel Charge in the Aura slot, we have Power Drift as well, alongside the Blind Rage and our own that's 5-4 Power Strength, and we do have Rising Storm, the augment that I mentioned earlier, alongside Savage Silence. We do have Equilibrium for energy alongside Prime Flow, we have Stretch for a little bit of range, we have Prime Continuity for a little bit of duration, and we have Arcane Crepuscular, which is going to give us a final 3x critical multiplier if we're invisible, and 30% Power Strength, alongside Arcane Fury, boosting our melee damage by 180%. 80%. This is going to be, in my opinion, the perfect combo. Now, keep in mind, Prime Flow, you can use blue Achon Shards, and I actually do utilize two, which you do not need, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But Prime Flow can definitely be a flex slot here. Now that we have covered the main silence build, we do want to cover the roar build as well, and this is it up on screen. What primarily changed here is, first of all, we're using the Seeking Shuriken augment instead of Savage Silence, considering we do not have it anymore, and we're utilizing Augur Secrets. Instead of Stretch, considering we do not need range with our roar, we're mostly going to be running solo, so this is going to be increasing our power strength even just that little bit. And now, you finally want to throw down some hands. Shadow Clones, you need that build. This is it up on screen. First of all, the Aura Slot Bladestorm, that's pretty much always going to be there. We want to focus on finisher damage, so Finishing Touch and Covert Lethality are going to be incredibly good. Galvanized Steel, Galvanized Elementalist, we have Prime Pressure Point, Blood Rush, Gladiator Might, and Vice as well, and Melee Duplicate. If not, utilize Melee Exposure. Either war is going to be incredibly good. One incredibly good thing that makes a Warframe is the Achon Shards of choice. Now, I did mention I do have two blue ones, as you can see, Tau Forged right there. You do not need those, trust me. I just put them on there and I couldn't be bothered to remove them because I do not have the bile for it, but you can utilize the red ones. We have 3 red ones here giving us 37.5% critical damage on our melee weapons each, and it is going to be incredibly good. You can get purple ones and gain even more, but I do not have the purple ones and I don't necessarily think you need it at 300 million damage. But one thing that is going to help you out is Nermon Power Spike. Nermon and Power Spike is going to be incredibly good because it's going to make your combo meter decay instead of fully deplete, and this is a must-have on Ashe. I highly recommend you get this, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Our Shadow Clones have been modded. We do need weapons as well. One of the best weapons that you can possibly bring along is going to be the Cedo or the Cedo Prime. This is the Cedo Prime build that I use, and I recommend you just copy and paste this build into your Cedo if you possibly can. This is one of the best priming weapons, first of all, in the game, and you can also kill enemies incredibly easy, especially with the Cedo Prime. Trust you me. This is, I think, one weapon that you have to bring, and you don't have to worry about any sort of acolyte or enemy trying to get even close to you. Secondary, you can put in whatever you want. Spore Laser, for example, for easily killing acolytes, for example, if you can't use your 4th ability, or the Epitaph, for example, for priming enemies and then using a different primary. Now, melee weapons are very questionable. You can use anything here that you really want to. I pick the Hate Incarnate, which is a really good melee weapon, and I also do pick Harmony, 2 incredibly good melee weapons because of melee afflictions. But I primarily utilize my clones for killing enemies, and also my primary a little bit. I don't really utilize my melee weapons, but you can bring anything that's really good with Slash. Anything with Slash is going to be incredibly good because of his passive and just his whole synergy with Slash procs. One thing that everybody needs is a great companion by their side, and this one is going to be incredibly good, and it is going to be the Panzer Vulpophyla. And this is it up on screen. This is the Panzer Vulpophyla. We have Tandem Bond, which is going to keep up your combo counter every time the Panzer attacks an enemy, which is going to be almost always. We have Tenacious Bond, which is going to give us a final increase 1.2 times on our critical multiplier, which is going to be incredibly good. And Contagious Bond, spreading that status effects even to other enemies, alongside Viral Quills, spreading viral all over the place. And the Claws as well. The Claws are going to be even better. We have Magnetic, we have Radiation, we have Impact, and knocking enemies down as well. If you're gonna utilize this build up on screen, which is gonna be the Nourish build, which is, a Surprise build, which is incredibly good. You can utilize this build as well. You have more energy and more viral damage. Utilize the second companion, which is going to be Nautilus and Hellstrom. There you go, that's a double build up on screen right there. And why I'm mentioning the Nourish build now is primarily because I prefer having either Silence or Roar, but keeping in mind that Nourish is still not a bad option. If you're, for example, a lower level player, if you're, for example, someone that just got Ashe, this is the build for you. So this is a base Ashe build that you can just play normal star chart and you're going to be pretty much fine. Subsume Roar when you get your helmet system and or Nourish, and then copy the other builds. But all of that out of the side, now we got to talk about how to play Ashe. First of all, go invisible. That is your first thing that you have to do. No matter what build you're playing out of these four, make yourself go invisible. Second of all, activate Roar, Nourish, or silence, either one of those three, and then get yourself a little bit of energy with your primary, keeping in mind that you're gonna have to utilize your weapons inside of survival, for example, to stay alive. So keep that in mind. Your fourth ability is not necessarily gonna kill everything around the map, considering it depends on your line of sight. Nonetheless, get enough energy for your fourth ability and just start tagging enemies. Move your cursor all around the place, like sort of like I am in the gameplay, and you're gonna be tagging enemies, doing millions of damage, killing enemies with your primary, and just going off to the other side, and then looking back, all the enemies gone. And that is how you play Ashe. Keep invisible, use your fourth, keep your 3 active, whatever that may be, silence, roar, or nourish, and that's basically it. Seeking Shuriken, if you have it, if you have the augment, definitely utilize it. Armor strip those acolytes, and then just demolish them. Acolytes are not going to be an issue anyway, but removing their armor is not going to hurt anybody other than them. But hopefully, this build helped you guys out. If it did, do comment down below, like, subscribe, all that cool jazz that I said earlier. I love you guys so much for it. I try to make the best content for you and also stream as much as I can. Love you. Very interested in your thoughts down below. I'll see you guys on the next one. This has been your host, the Gaming Weasel, over and out.